Welcome to your Construction Safety Association of Manitoba's virtual Toolbox Talk series. Brought to you by CSAM, the Safety Conference, Canada's premier and North America's largest construction safety conference.
We all know how cold winter is in Manitoba, and when we factor in the wind chill, it can get even worse. In construction, cold weather can lead to reduced production, thermal damage to materials and equipment, and workers may experience coughs and colds. But did you know that on average, Manitoba has the most reported cases of injuries and illness due to exposure of environmental cold in all of Canada? There have been close to 1,000 man-hours lost just in the last few years. We can't afford to not take into account the thousands of incidents that are attributed to cold weather, like slips and trips, falling on ice and snow, motor vehicle accidents due to icy roads, or carbon monoxide poisoning due to faulty heating and exhaust systems. Cold weather not only affects us and our job production, it may also affect our tools and equipment. But today, we're going to look at exposure, commonly referred to as cold stress. Let's discuss some of the signs and symptoms to be on the lookout for and ways to help control the effects of cold stress. Anytime you're working in cold temperatures, frostbite and hypothermia are real dangers and must be taken seriously. Let's talk about some of the precautions you can take to make sure that you and your coworkers stay safe. There are two conditions to be aware of to protect ourselves against: frostbite and hypothermia. It's important to understand both of these conditions, how to identify the signs and symptoms, and what to look for when they appear in either yourself or your coworkers.
First off, I'm sure we have all heard of a commonly used term, frostbite. But do we actually know what frostbite is? Frostbite happens when our skin and tissues freeze due to the exposure of cold. Certain signs that we should be looking for are a tingling in our extremities or our skin. It's like pins and needles poking into your cheeks, your ears, or your nose. Sometimes we may have waxy or pale skin. As the skin begins to freeze, it will whiten, appearing waxy, and it may become firm to the touch. If you identify symptoms in yourself or anyone else around you, it is important to take action immediately. The longer you wait, the higher the potential for serious and permanent damage. Once you identify the signs of frostbite, get out of the cold if possible. You want to get to a warm, dry place and remove any wet clothing. A warm water bath is an excellent way to warm a potentially frostbitten area slowly. Don't use hot running water or rub the area, as it can actually do more damage. If you believe the affected area may have had frostbite, or you do not regain full function or feelings, you should seek medical attention immediately. Important to note that you cannot actually get frostbite unless temperatures are below 0 degrees Celsius. But even at this temperature, you are still at risk of a second condition that we're also talking about today: hypothermia. Unlike frostbite, hypothermia affects your body internally. Hypothermia occurs when your body temperature, which is normally around 37 degrees, drops below 35 degrees Celsius. Hypothermia can occur when overexposed to cold temperatures or exposure to cold water. Some common symptoms and signs of hypothermia are an uncontrolled shiver. Shivering is your body's natural defense against the cold, but if you cannot stop shivering, even when entering a warm environment, it is a symptom of hypothermia. Other things to look for and be aware of are cold, bluish skin, a loss of coordination, slurred speech, and exhaustion. All of these symptoms are caused by the cooling of the blood and need to be taken very seriously. If you or a coworker are experiencing one or more of these symptoms during or after working in cold temperatures, take action and seek medical attention immediately. Hypothermia can get really bad fast and can lead to permanent damage, even death. If yourself or the person needs to get to a warm place, do so as soon as possible. But before you do, call 911. When possible, remove all wet clothing and wrap the person in warm, dry clothes or a blanket. Warm, sugary drinks will aid in warming the core of a hypothermic person and replenish energy lost by shivering that is desperately needed to warm the body. Avoid caffeine if possible, and do not rub the person or put them in warm water. This will actually make them colder. Encourage the movement of limbs to generate internal body heat, slowly and naturally. Remember, keep an eye on each other and check for the signs. Working on construction sites or out in the field during cold weather really takes its toll on the body. Although it is unavoidable to work during cold weather, having a warm rest area will help workers warm up and re-energize. Breaks are of the utmost importance, but without a warm and comfortable place to rest, breaks become useless. For construction projects that have a long timeline, setting up a modular cabin or a warming shelter is a good recommendation. For shorter-term projects, temporary shelters can be used along with portable electric heaters. Wearing the appropriate PPE and clothing is key to protecting yourselves from the elements. This includes winter-appropriate PPE, CSA-approved winter boots, layers of clothing, gloves to protect from the wind and the cold, and a hard hat liner to protect your ears and trap any escaping heat from your head. Let's take a closer look. Layering your socks will provide extra warmth for your feet. The base layer should be a thin material like a polypropylene or a nylon. The outside layer should be a merino wool material. Once your socks are taken care of, you must still look after your feet with winter work boots. Warm winter boots are a must for construction workers. Some of the best footwear include a leather upper and rubber soles, which will repel the moisture in the cold. Felt-lined insoles will provide the needed warmth and protection from the elements. Just like the layers on your feet, layering your apparel is key as well. 2 to 3 layers of clothing will help provide moisture wicking and warmth. The base layer should not be a cotton shirt. This will only absorb the sweat and not wick it away from your body. The second layer should be a fleece or another warm material. This will provide proper insulation and trap the body heat from escaping. The exterior layer should be a waterproof and/or windproof jacket. Having good flexibility and range of motion while wearing these layers is very important to remember.
Wearing gloves may impede workers doing their job if they deal with small materials or products. However, it is extremely important to remember if gloves are to be removed, there's a risk of being exposed to frostbite. Glove liners are a great source of insulation that can protect the hands from the elements. Remember, hand warmers and pocket warmers are also a great option that workers should consider as well to help keep their hands from freezing.
As you can see, a hoodie does not allow the hard hat to sit properly on the head. Even if tightened up, the suspension straps do not work as intended in case of an impact. As well, the sides of the headgear are at risk from slipping due to the smooth material of the hoodie. Toques are a great way to keep warm in winter, unless you wear a hard hat. Again, the hard hat is altered in the proper fit due to the bulkiness of the toque. The worker cannot get the suspension straps to sit properly, and the toque will again have a chance for the hard hat to slip off if an impact occurs. An approved and properly secured liner will allow the worker to continue their work without risk of slipping or falling off because it is acting as one piece with the worker's head.
That does it for now. Remember, layer up from head to toe, use the appropriate personal protective equipment, and keep an eye out for the signs and symptoms of frostbite and hypothermia. Now, it's my turn to go warm up. Stay safe and stay warm out there, guys.